up, guys? Bobo here with Brassfield Brothers. Thanks for coming back for some more popcorns. Well, since it's Scream season right now, and Scream is just the hot topic, and I just did my full Scream 2022 breakdown, like spoiler breakdown, and I did my 1996 review, I'm gonna finish them out and keep them going with Scream 2. Real quick before we get started, if you haven't done so already, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button. So after the explosion of Scream in 1996 and it basically just reigniting the slasher genre and all kinds of copycats were being made and stuff like that, it was super quickly announced that they were going to do a Scream 2. And in fact, it came out in 1997, just a year after the first one, which to me, for any sequel, way too soon, unless it was something planned out initially and they were filming it all at the same time. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings thing. But this one wasn't like that. However, because of the success of the first one, it was clear there was definitely going to be another one. And I have to say, outside of like The Dark Knight, Batman Returns, maybe like Matrix Reloaded, there's not a whole lot of sequels that we're just super excited about and just demanding, but Scream was one of those really anticipated sequels. I'd say that Scream 2 is in like the top 5 most anticipated sequels ever, because before Scream 1996, slashers were pretty much dead. Cut to a year later, you got people lining up at the theater waiting for this, digging online, trying to figure out the plot of Scream 2. In fact, Kevin Williamson had a great treatment and a great script that he was super excited about. And Wes Craven even says it was awesome. But this was right when the internet was popping big and everything, and somehow or another it leaked online. Everybody found out about it, and they started from scratch and rewrote the film. So in my opinion, that's one of the reasons that this one wasn't quite as good as the first one, on top of the fact that it was released just a year later. But by the time people got to the theater for Scream 2, you had so many expectations. You already were expecting 2 killers for sure. All these movie watchers had become like Randy now and sort of like tried to analyze all the people and just really figure everything out. So it was going to be tough to surprise people and follow up on Scream 1. In fact, I dare say it was impossible to do. So right away, I just gotta say that this one is not my favorite. I do like it, I do enjoy it because it's part of the franchise, and there are a lot of fun things to be had about it. And I say that like other things, like the way I talked about Scream 2022. Just because I have complaints about a lot of the plot lines and things like that, doesn't mean I can't have fun with a slasher. I'm a horror movie addict. That's what I do. So I even like the bad ones. I own the bad ones. But coming out of the gate with Scream 1, it seemed to be trying to be a little separate than the Jason and the Freddy and the Michael. However, with part 2, it quickly starts following those tropes. So look, I understand that these movies, even the first one, were trying to like make fun of the horror movie tropes and then do them in the movie. And that's cool. I like that. But something just worked really well about it in the first one that didn't work in the second one. The second one has a cheesy element to me that just is like, kind of gets comedic at moments when it's not supposed to be comedic. But the way the first one was self-aware about just horror movie tropes in general, the second one was self-aware about sequels. And in a way I really liked that, but in a way I thought they took that too far. But like I said, everybody's expecting a lot with this, and we were all expecting an opening kill, like who's going to be the opening kill? It turns out to be Jada Pinkett Smith, which was a great kill, and in fact, it might be my favorite part of the movie. I love how her and Omar Epps are like waiting in line to go see Stab, an in the movie about what happened in Scream 1, about the Woodsboro murders. So right up to me, that's pretty clever. Stab instead of Scream, I'm liking that. Everybody's running around the theater dressed like Ghostface, and the vibe of it's just really cool to me. And I do like the way that the killer comes out of the bathroom, killing Omar Epps in there, and then killing her in the theater in front of everybody. To me, that was awesome, and I was just like, woo! And then the knife slashes across the screen, and it just says Scream 2. I was like, oh, we're in for a good one here, boys. But then quickly, to me, it starts to become kind of comedic. I don't know, just sort of slapsticky in a way. Like honestly, I don't think the rest of the kills in the movie compare to that bathroom knife in the head stall scene. So the last one's in high school, this one's in college. It's their first year of college, and of course there's a new group of friends except for Randy. Randy's still around, and he's all in his film class and stuff like that. And there's this fun little scene where you see all these like famous for the time actors and actresses in there, like Sarah Michelle Gellar, Joshua Jackson, Timothy Oliphant, who's actually still very famous. They're just quoting lines from movies, talking about how sequels are never better than the original. So all this stuff right here I like. It's cleverly done. I'm following it so far. But basically the whole premise of this one right here is that Sid realizes these murders just happened at this theater. And now all of a sudden her group of friends and her boyfriend Jerry O'Connell are trying to surround her with support and just make her feel comfortable. Gail Weathers is back in town trying to cover the murder. Dewey's showing up with this limp because he got stabbed in the other one. And look, I gotta talk about this real quick because it's the music. My buddy Matt and I, we were all up into Hans Zimmer, still are, but all up into people who scored movies back in the day. Hans Zimmer's our favorite. He's everybody's favorite. But we were very, very well versed in all of his soundtracks, like including Broken Arrow. So Dewey walks on the screen and all of a sudden you start hearing the theme from Broken Arrow. That little guitar thing. Boom, 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 boom. Man, to me, that cheapened the movie immediately. Like, as soon as I heard that, Matt and I looked at each other, we were like, what are they doing? And I saw the behind the scenes of why they did that, and it had something to do with the music they were using in, like, the first cut of the test footage with, like, producers or something like that. Before they had it scored, they ended up scoring the entire movie, and they left that in there because somehow or another it read well. But man, I cannot handle that. I can't take it seriously because to me, that music for Broken Arrow is such a theme for John Travolta. And now it's become Dewey's theme, and they've tried to write other music that sounds like that music in the next films. Anyways, I just had to bring that up. It's just terrible to me. So that brought the movie completely down a notch immediately in quality. Stock music. Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Cotton Weary is back, Liev Schreiber, but he's got a way bigger role in this one. Like in the last one, you just saw him on the news for a second and they refer to Cotton Weary for a second. This one, he's actually got a pretty major part in the film. And I like him in this movie. I like the way Wes Craven uses him as sort of a red herring. Like you're on his side because you're like, nah, Billy Loomis did it. But now they do certain things to where you're like, I don't know, Cotton. So that's something that still worked for me in this one. I was really like, all right, who the hell is it? So my other favorite kill in this is when Sarah Michelle Gellar is at the sorority house waiting for everybody to like get done partying. She's like the sober driver for the night. To me, that's the scene that feels like the most connected in tone to the first movie. I like the way he's talking with her and teasing her and he's like, do you want to die tonight, Cece?
Do you want to die tonight, Cece? Do you want to die tonight, Cece?
But then cut to the party where Sydney is like trying to get to know everybody and all these new girls at school, including Portia de Rossi. It just gets a little cheesy to me. Like one of the things that was really scary about part one is that you only heard him talk in the voice on the phone. You never heard him talk face to face in the voice. But in the second one, like when he's right behind her and she turns around and he's all, my pleasure.
Then why don't you show your face, you fucking coward?
My pleasure. It just cheesy to me. It just sounds weird. Like to me, the scary part of it is when it's on the phone. And even then, that's another thing. Like him killing at this party while everybody's there. And it's just like, I get it in the first one because it was a setup thing at somebody's house in the middle of the woods and everybody was leaving. It was just only a handful of people left. This one he's trying to kill right there at this party when everybody's just right outside. It's the same thing as like killing in the daylight to me. I hate it when he's killing in the daylight. I just don't believe it. I mean, in this one, they're making you think it's Randy. They're making you think it's Mickey. They're making you think it's Dewey for a second. They're making you think maybe Gail, Jerry O'Connell. You're questioning Cotton again. In fact, the only person I think that you don't think is the killer in this movie is Sydney. So it starts to reel you in a little bit with the Sarah Michelle Gellar scene, but for me, the party scene's cheesy. And I think that's part of the reason this movie is a little bit of a downgrade. There's a few reasons, but one of them is I feel like it was kind of a good story, but it just wasn't really that well executed. I felt like it was just a little too poppy. And it was more poppy. It had a lot more money behind it. More people had expectations, so there was way more 90s music all throughout it, which to me made it a little less scary. Anytime you start adding a bunch of like hip music to a movie, it's just a tension cutter. It always cuts the tension of the fear that you might be feeling. If you can just leave scored music in there consistently throughout, except for maybe the opening of the film and the ending of the film, you're gonna be more scared because it just keeps that tension. I will say, when Dewey and Randy are in the restaurant and they're like talking about who's the killer this time, and they're going over sequel rules this time, Randy is talking about like, hey, got David Schwimmer to play Dewey.
Get Tori Spelling to play Sid, and they cast Joe Blow Nobody to play me. At least you get David Schwimmer.
But that scene with Luke Wilson and Tori Spelling in the hallway, it is so hilarious. Got to give it to them on that.
Ooh, I love scary movies.
Now, one of the things that I just hated about this movie, and I started out loving it, when Randy and Dewey and Gale are all out in that like courtyard of the college campus and the killer calls, and they start like really trying to outsmart him. I like all that until Randy gets killed. I literally started cracking up laughing in the theater when I saw that part. It was terrible. What are you trying to do here? Making this hip hop essay group walk by and it's just like, what the? Oh, God. It's completely taking the scariness out of it. And again, this killer killing during the middle of the day in the costume in this van, I just don't buy it. But I do love it when Randy goes off on the killer on the phone right beforehand. I love everything that's coming out of his mouth.
Stu was a puss wet rag. And Billy Loomis, what the f? Jesus.
Another thing I don't like about this movie is that why is the killer killing all these other people? I understand Randy, but I don't understand Jada Pinkett Smith or Omar Epps in the beginning. Don't understand Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, why is he killing these other people? It has nothing to do with the original people. And once you find out who the killer is in this, it even makes less sense why those other people died. It's kind of the way I felt about Casey Becker and Steve in the first one, even though I love it. Once Gale and Dewey are in like the art studio area of the college and they're trying to find the killer back and forth, some of that gets cool, but then it also gets cheesy. Like the killer's defying reality. One time he's up here, one time he's down here, and I just don't believe both of them would be that crafty and get away with it right in the middle of it all right there. It just, I don't know. It just is, it's very like silly. That's the main thing about this one is it's just got a silliness to it that doesn't work. I do like it when Gale's hiding by herself in that soundproof studio and then Dewey gets killed. That's a cool scene right there. I like that. But then it's immediately at the scene where Neve Campbell and her friend are getting that car crash where you get that guy's head just smashed into the window. And there's just all this stuff where the killer defies reality. Like he's in the car, but then all of a sudden he's on the other side of this wall that they're up against, and I don't know. And again, I know it's two killers, but I just don't believe the killers would be keeping up with each other like that so fast. You know what I mean? I think the whole point of the two killers, they could be at two places at one time, not consistently together following each other around. However, when Sydney's friend does get stabbed, I love the way it sounds when the killer stabs her. Listen to this. I really like the effect though when her boyfriend Derek gets shot after he's hung up on that big old thing that's like a cross. That looked really good, especially for the time. And you feel something for him at that point too, because he was trying to be a good guy the whole time. He's got that whole Top Gun scene where he sings to her on the table in the library. So the cheesy part to me when it happens is when you find out who the killer is, or who the killers are. You got Mickey, Timothy Olyphant, the freaky Tarantino film student, as he's referred to.
Mickey, the freaky Tarantino film student.
But he's doing this all because he was hired by Billy's mom. Billy Loomis's mom from the first one, the one that abandoned him. Now, I kind of like the idea that his mom would be doing this, but one, she abandoned him, so why would she care? Two, the main reason is that I just think Laurie Metcalf playing Billy's mom was just super silly and cheesy and just goofy. I love her as an actor. I think she's badass. It was just silly in this, and I just didn't believe that she could be doing all these killings with Mickey. And again, I didn't really buy the fact that she would try to avenge her son since she abandoned him in the first place in the first film. So anyways, that to me was a little cheesy. The little breakdown at the end, how it all happens, kind of cheesy. I like Cotton coming back in there and kind of saving the day, but it just, the whole thing is just pretty lackluster to me at the end. I just was feeling nothing like I was feeling by the end of the first film. And we get to see that Dewey survives, which becomes, like I said earlier, an ongoing joke in the franchise. Look, over the years, I've grown to enjoy watching this movie for what it is because I watch all kinds of smut slashers and stuff all day long. But this has always been my least favorite in the franchise, but right now, it might be kind of pairing up with Scream 5. I don't know. We'll see how I feel in 6 months. So all in all, I give Scream 2 a C+. Pretty big step down from the A+ that Scream 1 was. Well, that'll do it for this review, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Be on the lookout for my Scream 3 video. Oh yeah, and if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.
Okay, so what do you want to do, bonehead? You just want to sit here and wait and see who drops next?
Well, I don't know. Bonehead.